Therapy roulette, consent event. Trauma disguised as comedy. Therapy roulette, consent event. If you don't have problems, then you're likely repressing shit and you should find a therapist who's not me.
Welcome back to Therapy Roulette. Today I am joined with Stan Talouis, or Talouis.
Yeah,
What does that mean, your name?
I don't know. I don't think it means anything because
It has to mean something.
quick. This is a quick story. We're Haitian. My family's last name is Talut.
Halut.
And I don't know what that means either for the record. But um, when she came here, uh, I guess immigration spelled it wrong and it just stuck. Which is
Okay.
crazy because she came in 1981 and they had computers, so they could have just fixed it.
Yeah. But then they would have had to do work, and that, hard to make
Exactly.
people do work.
So like my mom and both of her sisters have different last names.
Really?
Yeah. So it's
Oh,
my
that's interesting.
my mom's last name is, or my last name is spelled Talouis. My aunt is spelled Taloute, which is the right way. And then my other aunt who came maybe a few months after her, uh is spelled Taloude. So it's all it's all fun.
hmm um, Let me just finish your quick intro. Stan is a stand-up comic from New York. Welcome, Stan.
Thank you.
And so, does that bother you that the ancestry is like a little started in 1981 because of a mix-up on
No,
wherever your mom came in?
no, not really. It doesn't because I mean, I never really put too much like it's not, it is what it is. Like I that was this was my last name forever. So
Yeah,
uh
it's who you
I,
are.
yeah, I've never really thought about it. Maybe I should be upset.
Well, I don't know. Meditate on it and get back to me.
Yeah, I'll think about how my last name has affected my life.
Yeah, I've been thinking more about it because I think like, if my boyfriend and I get married, would I want to take his name? Should we make our own last name? Does any of it matter? Like I've been wondering.
Names are arbitrary,
And
you know?
yeah, like to me, I like my name. I think it's my identity. But I grew to love it as a child, and now that I've accepted it, I'm like, I think I just like to keep it as it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, I think
And then if you
about
create a name, you start like a whole new branch in your family tree.
that's what I thought about that at one point, but that's what I don't want to do that just because the one thing I will say is like I always felt like my last name is unique because someone made a mistake. So there's only two of the people in the world with my last name is me and my mom. Unless somebody else has that last name somewhere and I need to claim it.
Yeah, I guess that makes it more special.
Yeah, exactly.
Just you and your mom. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you've done the DNA test. Maybe there's someone out there with your name,
It's possible.
like a
I'd have,
lost
I'd
a
have to ask
lost Talouis.
questions. Yeah, I'd have to talk to my mom, and
Yeah.
she didn't tell me some stuff.
Yeah, if you wanna go that route, because it could be like, oh, there's 100 of you and they're all terrible.
Yeah, I
It could
hope.
go either way.
Yeah, exactly. I might as well just stay in the mystery.
Yeah, I prefer the mystery. So, Stan, tell us, how's it going? How's your mental health?
Um, well, uh, it's okay. Not the best. Well, so I've been in therapy actually since um 2012, 2013, maybe. Um,
It's a long time.
yeah, it actually kind of started by accident, really. A friend of mine from college, um, her friend was doing free consultations, and they were trying to like drum up business and looking for clients. I was like, yeah, I'll whatever, I'll help
Oh,
out. So, um, the first time I went,
you did it
uh,
as a favor.
yeah, the first time I went, the floodgates opened, and I was like, I need this. So I just luckily at the time I had a pretty good job with good health insurance, and it was covered.
Yeah.
But even after that, after I stopped working there and I started working other places, I figured out ways to keep going to therapy. I switched to sliding scale, things like that. So there was a point.
Nice.
There was a point in like 20, maybe around 2018 when I stopped going because I wasn't working at all. So, but I'm back now. Um, yeah, I mean it's good. I need it for sure. I think I have good, how it is, good days and bad days, good weeks and bad weeks. Um, right now, I'm pretty stressed out because uh my girlfriend and I are looking for an apartment, and it just seems like we're getting rejected left and right, probably because of me and my credit. And
Oh
um
no.
yeah, I've had to move back in with my mom. And right now, like literally as we speak, I can hear the downstairs tenants playing their music really loud. My mom has a radio on, she's watching TV, and she's on the phone, and my mom has no inside voice whatsoever. So if you
She's
hear
doing
murmur,
all those things at one time.
oh yeah, yeah, I think she's testing me.
Okay.
um but yeah, I mean, other than that, I kind of I because of therapy, I'm a very mellow person. I used to have a really really bad temper, and therapy's kind of like helped
Mm.
calm that down. So a lot of people are very impressed by my patience. Some people worry if I'm pushing it all down and I'm not dealing with it, but I think I'm okay.
You seem very calm to me, but I don't know you, so you could be, you know, harboring deep rage
I hope not. I tell you that,
for all I
man.
know.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like right now. I'm good, but like
Mhm.
I do tend to be remarkably calm when I shouldn't be. So maybe I'm just a powder keg ready to blow.
Or I think it's more likely that you did get your mental health in check starting in 2012 and like now you've tempered down.
Yeah, yeah, that's probably more closer to the truth, because what it was in like in college, I would lose my temper over the smallest things, like the dumbest things. And I didn't like
Mm.
the how my actions, like how my friends like felt about it. That I knew like sometimes it was like they felt weird about saying certain things around me or whatever. And then I kind of made the decision that I was like, all right, I don't like that. I'm gonna stop doing that.
Yeah. Like you picked up on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Good on you for being perceptive.
I think that I mean, yeah, I think yeah, that's what I think that's why it makes me a good stand up. I think that because I pick up on it. I realize like what my actions do to other people. So yeah, I was like, I didn't like the way I was acting, and I was like, all right, I just need to make a conscious decision to kind of like calm down, think things through, and stop. There's times when I'll like get angry, but like it's not very often.
Yeah, that's good. So your friends were like your first audience and you learned how to make them like you more and how you could be a
Right.
better friend to them and now it's translated to comedy.
Yeah. Um, I think the other thing too with like doing stand up, I think um this sort of like I wouldn't call it a persona. I think it's really me, but I do give off this calm kind of demeanor. Um, and I feel like it makes people feel comfortable around me. And um I talk about, I don't smoke a lot of weed. I don't smoke any weed at all, to be honest with you. It makes me paranoid. But like
Mhm.
I've talked about it on stage, and people think that I'm a stoner, and I'm not. People are um like I'll talk about like it make people, I'm very believable, I guess. And like I'm just like, I talk about, you know, how weed makes you feel and what I've done and things like that. And Because I'm so
Yeah, it's part of your
yeah.
act.
So because I'm so
Yeah.
like even keel and calm, people like it doesn't even make people feel comfortable. I think so. It does translate onto the stage.
You're not just walking on stage and like exhaling weed smoke so they all get
No.
high. Like it's just your persona.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get that. I feel like you're just a calm dude. Like that's your personality. That's how you go through life most of the time.
Right. And it's funny. I think the times that I do get a little bit excited or angry or whatever it is, people it shocks people, but not in a bad way. Like the last time I can tell you that I raised my voice in any way really. Um, so a few weeks ago, I was outside of there was a comedy show in the Lower East Side. I don't know if you know Bowery Electric. So
No, I think I heard you talking about it on your podcast, but I know the area.
yeah, yeah. So I was yeah,
Yeah.
I mean I was down there and like this guy started like he came up to me and my girlfriend and like he was like throwing the N word around and like what like I was kind of ignoring him and then he like called my girlfriend a bitch and I got mad and then he pepper sprayed me and then he ran away.
Okay.
Uh, so that's the last like like even then I was just like I was angry and then I calmed down real fast and then I just went and did the show. So everybody's like,
You did?
yeah, everybody. I went back in and like they were like, you want to go home? And I was
Oh
like,
man.
no, I'm already here. I'm like, I was on the train for 45 minutes. You think I'm gonna go back home? Nah.
Where did you get pepper sprayed? Did it get you in the eye?
Yeah, luckily I was wearing my glasses, so he got like he got me in the right eye, so like the corner of my eye. And then I guess because it was also in like in my hair, it kind of dripped down into my eye. Pepper sprayed me
Oh
twice.
my god.
Like the first time, I didn't know what was going on. I was because I've never been pepper sprayed, which is a
I was gonna say like, yeah, I've
for
carried it around in New York, but I never
yeah
had to use it.
for a New Yorker. I got to be honest with you. I was like, you know what? I can scratch this off my bucket list. That's one less thing I can. So,
Right.
uh, pepper
And
sprayed me
you
the
you
first time.
clearly survived. You
Yeah,
were okay with it.
the first time he
Yeah.
did it, the first spray was like I was like, why is he? I was confused. I was like, why is this guy spraying me with perfume? And like very quickly, I was like, this is not perfume. This is out. And then so I kept chasing after him, but I couldn't see. And then he sprayed me a second time because I like as I got closer,
Hmm.
and at that point I just gave up. I was like, I don't know, because I was like, what's up? Afterwards, I was thinking about it. I was like, what if I had tackled the wrong person? What if I had like tried to fight the wrong person? I was
Oh.
like, you know what? Let me stop. Let me just because I was like, I'm not gonna catch him. Um,
Yeah, it gets complicated after that because it's like you can't fully see you've been attacked.
yeah,
You can't be fully blamed for your actions.
yeah. So right now, I mean, the cops. I mean, surprisingly, they're not doing anything. So, um, like I
I'm
got,
shocked.
yeah. You know what's funny? They told me they were like, oh, why didn't you call the cops at the time? And I was like, I had a comedy show to get to. They were like, what? And I was like, yeah, I had a show I was performing, and they were like, you went on stage, and I was like, well, yeah, what was I supposed to do? they, were- they were just
Yeah,
like,
like you were booked.
yeah. I was like, I don't know if you know about the New York comedy scene, but when you're booked, so I was like, so then they were
Yeah.
like,
I don't blame you. It's like
yeah,
you invested that time.
exactly.
If
I'm
you
not
can see
gonna,
out of one eye or like a quarter of an eye, might
yeah,
as well.
like I knew the jokes. I don't need to see them. It's fine. Um, so
So when did you end up calling the cops?
so I ended up going after work the next day. I went to the cops. I filled out a police report,
Oh, okay.
and then a couple days later, I got a call from a detective. And cause so what happened was the person. It was two guys. The guy that sprayed me wasn't. He was. So it was the guy. There was a guy holding a camera. He was holding he was recording. He was live streaming. So
Okay.
um the guy that was like
So
talking to
there's
me,
evidence.
yeah. So I didn't even realize, but I had no idea at the time that that's what was going on. So then that later that night, I got home and I texted a friend of mine in a group chat. I was like, hey, he's a cop, and I was like, yo, here's what happened. What can I do? He was like, your best bet is to go to the precinct tomorrow where it happened and make a report. So, um, you know, I figured, yeah, maybe I'll do that. I don't know. And then the next morning, literally like less than 12 hours later, the video popped up on YouTube. And one of my other friends in the group chat
Okay.
was like, hey, is this you? And I was like, oh, yeah. So then I screen grabbed the video and I went to the cops after work and I was like, this is what happened, blah, blah, blah. So that was like, it's been a month, at least a month now. Um, and the cops really aren't doing, I haven't heard from the cops in weeks. So now I'm like, maybe I should take it to a private investigator. Someone recommended a private investigator to me. So I'm thinking, maybe cause I'm annoyed mostly. I'm fine.
If it's worth your time, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
If
sure
it's
you're
like,
enraged like a little bit.
yeah, I'm still pretty mad. Like cause my whole thing was, if it was just like this thing that happened, this guy, somebody going around doing this, whatever, I'm not going to catch him. But the fact that it's on YouTube, and the guy who was recording, he's got a YouTube channel with like 11,000 followers or subscribers or whatever. I'm like, so YouTube is letting people profit off of people getting pepper sprayed in the face, and I was like, screw that. So then that's when I decided, I'm
Right.
like, I'm gonna pursue this, and I'll take it as far as I need to go. It's like it takes. I am not. I have nothing but time. I'm a comedian. I have all the time in the world to explore this.
Yeah, on your commutes, you could do some private investigating
Right.
when you're riding the subway to the next show.
Right, exactly. And then like the video made its rounds, and I have, even just yesterday somebody was like, I saw that video, and I was like, what video? And they were like, the video where you got pepper sprayed, and I was like, got it. All right. So people are still
So
talking about it.
so
Got it.
this guy, this YouTuber, did he spray you or he was like an accomplice? Is his
No,
whole channel people getting attacked?
it's so he's like a troll. That's what he does. He the guy whose YouTube channel it was didn't actually spray me. It was the other guy, which is like which is why the cops were like, well, we can't really identify the guy, even though this other guy has the YouTube channel. Like I called a lawyer. They were like, yeah, if you don't know who it was, I was like, so people can just randomly pepper spray people in the street, and if I don't know who it is, it's fine. Like what the hell?
Yeah, I mean it's an attack of some kind. But
Right.
the YouTuber, like, does he know who the guy is? Are all his videos similar? Did he watch any of
Yeah.
them?
Yeah, it's I went through, it's like the YouTuber himself, it's the guy will there's videos of him going to like um there was one that I saw where he goes to like some kind of like rally, some kind of like protest, and he's like taking the opposition. There's him like, just basically being a troll and like trying to get people upset. Like to the
Yeah,
point where like,
provoking
yeah,
people.
exactly. To the point where some of the comments that I've seen on videos are like, oh, that like, especially on the video that of me, people were like, this is fake, and I was like, no, it's not. It's not fake. My eyes hurt.
Yeah, I wonder, did you comment on it? Like, did you say, "Hey, that's
I,
me"?
I did, I did, and then somebody was like, delete the comment. You don't wanna like, because I it started getting me even more upset, and then they were like,
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine who's a lawyer. He was like, take down any comments, take down any replies, because he was like, it might be used as evidence later on. So he was like, don't get involved. Let the proper people. But the video got taken down.
Let it be.
So um yeah, I have a copy of it. I screen recorded it. So um
That's good.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to catch the guy who sprayed you, but it's worth like at least digging into a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like like I said, I have somebody who recommended a private investigator, so maybe I'll I'll send the video to them and see what they think. If it's even worth it, maybe, maybe it's not. And, now
Yeah,
I'm just extra careful at night around Bowery Electric.
that's so crazy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that happened to you.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, it,
People.
it, it is what it is. Like, I'm just, what my biggest concern was like just how, because I think what's crazy is like, here's this white guy who's like trying to get a rise out of people, trying to get a rise out of me, and like he picked the wrong guy, because I'm just like, saying the N word around me isn't gonna like make me upset. Like, I'm from New York. I hear it all the time. I hear it from all types of people. It is what it is. Um, where I got mad was him talking about my girlfriend. That's what made me upset. And then, I think he knew that. And like, if I hadn't reacted, he would have said something else, and he would have said something else, and it would have escalated at some point. Until what I should have just done was walk away from the very beginning. But hindsight
Yeah,
is
but then
2020.
that's like it's a big ask in the moment.
Right, right. And I mean,
Yeah,
on the bright
you're
side,
defending your
yeah,
girlfriend. You're protecting her. That's why
exactly.
you got agitated.
Yeah. And on the bright side, I got some good jokes out of it. You know, very quickly I was already like, well, if nothing else, I should talk about this on stage.
Yeah, I think it's probably the best reward that will come out of it, but who knows? Maybe you will like get justice too.
Um, maybe,
Yeah,
maybe,
I've gotten familiar with some legal happenings since moving to LA. It's the land of the lawsuit apparently, but
yeah.
I
People
don't
are
know.
very
Our
litigious.
country is crazy.
People,
Yes.
they should call it litigious Angeles. That's
Yeah.
not a good.
That's why there's so many contracts and like work. I used to work on a TV network, and like every audience member would have to sign like a waiver so they could be on camera, and it's like so many legal proceedings at all times.
It seems frustrating.
Yeah, there's no way people are reading that. They're just
Right.
signing.
I feel like people
Yeah.
just wanna create content, and then here comes paperwork.
Hmm. And you should probably be reading whatever you're signing. So I feel like people get into a lot of like bad situations because they sign things away, or
Yeah.
you can use my image in perpetuity, like for the rest of my life, and you don't realize at the time that's what you're signing.
Right. Do you think people would negotiate more if they knew?
Probably if they had the knowledge.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there are TikToks out there telling people what's up, but like you got to find the right TikToks.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's enough. TikTok is very, like, I've learned a lot on TikTok, so that's probably the where people should go.
That's the new like TED Talk is TikTok.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where we get our education now. So back to therapy. Did you have the same therapist for like a long stretch of time?
Yeah. My first therapist, I saw her from 2013. Yeah, probably like 2012, 2013 till maybe 2017. And then 2017 was tough because um like, well, 2016 I quit. I used to work for a Wi-Fi company, and it was a pretty good job, money wise. So but it was after a while I got burnt out, so I quit in October of 2016. I started working at Uber, um right before like it really blew up into like, you know the the huge industry it is now. It was still popular, but
Yeah.
it was like still, it still had the startup vibe. So I worked there. I was a contractor. I worked there.
It's hard to imagine it as a startup now.
Yeah, it was like it was like a small built like office in Long Island City, and then it moved to a bigger office in Long Island City. So then it
Yeah, I
had
think
still
I think I
had,
had a
yeah,
roommate who worked there too.
at the Long
And
Island
he was
City.
like, he's like, I don't know which location, but he worked for Uber in some capacity. I remember he like shrugged it off. He's like, they're worth my time. They're a nothing company. I was like, okay.
Oh, Man, if only he
You do
knew.
you, man. I know.
Uh,
Or he might have
what?
just thought he was a big shot, and
Yeah.
maybe he's right. Who knows?
Uh, I worked there for about 6 months, and then then I was like bouncing around. Like I was like, um, I worked at a restaurant after that for like a few months. I was doing uh like what's the word? I was temping a lot, and then because I was just just trying to make extra money, but I didn't have enough for therapy, so I kind of stopped around 2017. And in 2018 I gotten another job that I made enough money to go back to therapy, but I was dating a girl who was like kind of against, not against, like, she was against it. I'm not gonna, yeah, she was definitely against it. I don't know why.
She was
Yeah.
against the concept.
No, well, she
Okay.
was basically, her thoughts were like, you're fine, what do you need therapy for? And I was like, well, I'm
Oh,
not fine.
okay.
Like it's good to have, I like to have people to talk to. And she was like, well, you can talk to me. And I was like, sure, sure. But you're on my side. I want to talk to somebody. Like I was like having a therapist that'll like kind of push back against me and be like, hey, no, you're
Mm.
being dumb. You know, if I am being dumb. So um I went basically most of 2017 and all of 2018 not going to therapy. And then I got back into therapy in 2019, um with um the same office, but a different therapist, because my previous therapist had just too big a caseload. So um but I really like that office. I really like the people there. So I went back, and it was like uh yeah, it was like 2019, so it was like virtual, and which is, it worked out
Hmm.
perfectly because it was right before the pandemic hit. So it just kind of seamless, and I that's what I've been doing ever since. So I've been with the same therapist now for close to 3 years.
So they were ahead of the curve, like pre-pandemic
Yeah,
telehealth.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, that's so
It
nice.
was
Like
good.
even to go back to
Yeah,
the same office because you already liked it.
right.
Any like good vibes that you can get, just chase those.
Yeah, I even like I recommend my three younger cousins, they're in their 20s, and I feel like you know I recommend them to my therapist's office. Their finances are different, so they couldn't afford it. One of my best friends moved from Brooklyn to North Carolina. I recommended it to him, but his insurance wasn't gonna, cover any of it. So, but like, I
Yeah.
uh, it's a good. I like them a lot.
At least you're planting the seeds of the idea in their heads.
Yeah, yeah. I
Like
think uh,
when it becomes more available, they could seek it out.
that's what I'm hoping. Or if their financial situation improves, that's what and like even like today, I've been at a new job for about 4 months now, and I'm like, can I use my health insurance here for therapy? And they're like, it's possible. So I'm gonna look into that. So um, you know, it sucks that it's not affordable. It should be like the same way you go to get, a checkup, you should be able to go to therapy. I don't it's I mean, I know I'm
Yeah.
preaching to the choir a little bit, but like it's crazy.
It is crazy. I mean, also for your relatives who don't have like insurance, they could see like a student in training, and then it's usually like very affordable. But then you
Hmm.
have to, do the research to find that. You have to, go to the place, and you
Yeah.
still have to set up the appointment. But there are people who are studying in school. They're usually pretty affordable. Like you could pay what you can, or it's a few dollars. But then they might not have any experience and be awful. So you have to
Right.
be
Yeah.
willing to barter.
I will say I've been pretty lucky. Like I've only had
It
two
sounds like
therapists.
it.
They've both been very good. Um,
Mm.
you know, I feel totally comfortable. Like I think, yeah, I will. Me. I think being a stand up also helps because I'm comfortable talking about myself. in front of strangers, let alone my therapist. So like I'm even more comfortable telling my therapist about things that are going on, how I feel about certain things, you know.
That's
Uh
good.
yeah, like it's one of those things too, like where one of my first thoughts about going to therapy was like there's repressed memories that I have. I know I have them. Um and I want to talk about them so that I'm sure there's good stand-up material in there.
So that was your reason to go?
Um, not at first. At first, I was like, I was just trying it, and then like I was like, I like very quickly I realized that there's stuff that I don't talk about, and once I started
Mm.
talking about them with my therapist, I was like, huh, maybe there are some things that I haven't really like dug up yet, and like maybe there'll be a nice byproduct of going to see this therapist. So like
Right.
not to get too dark, but you know, uh, I I
The
had this
light's still on, so it's okay.
I through therapy I kind of like uncovered this memory of my grandfather like sexually abusing me, and
Hmm.
you know
Yeah, repressed memories. That's like a common tie with sexual
yeah,
abuse, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and there's still work that I need to do to kind of like dig deep, and but that's because of that I found out my therapist explained that that's why I I have this weird I have this I hate being hated. I don't like people not liking me. Even people I don't like, I need to like. I need them to like me. Um and what she told me was like a lot of times victims of sexual abuse tend to be affable because they whatever it is between me and my grandpa or whatever, like I guess that's how I dealt with it. And so she's like like two major parts of my personality, my affability and my need to protect people, comes from that because one, I that's how I dealt with my grandfather, and two, when my younger cousins, I felt the need to protect them from my grandfather. So
Mm.
it's, I haven't gotten to the jokes yet, but we're getting there.
Well, we have the premise.
Right. Yeah.
But I feel like that's a good incentive to go to therapy. Like I'm in therapy now. I have not had this long-term relationship with a therapist that you've had, but I found my current therapist like 6 months ago. And part of my reason to stick with her is like, oh, I need to be in therapy because I have a therapy podcast and I have to do both.
Yeah.
I need to know what's going on in the world. And I also have to have myself kind of in check to be able to talk about this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And it's good just for life. Like I can't be the best version of myself if I'm not at least somewhat level-headed, having gone to therapy a few times a month. Also, haven't written a lot of jokes about it, but I try sometimes.
Yeah. It's always like whenever because I see my therapist uh twice a month, and after a
Mhm.
session I'm always like exhausted because like whatever that happened in the last 2 weeks, I'm like, all right, I gotta like unload. And then like the next day is like, for whatever reason, I think the next day is like I do feel like inspired, and I'm like, all right, here's the things that I told her I was gonna do. And like it's almost like I'll say things and I'm just like, yeah, I want to get this done and I want to do this thing and blah blah blah. And like she kind of, she's like, yeah, you should do that. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then I feel motivated, like whatever, like whether it's like trying to start a script or like you know writing a joke or reaching out to somebody in comedy and things like that. So I
Yeah.
do also like, it does energize me and feel it makes me inspired to be creative after.
And after telling her what you plan to do and she's like just supportive,
Yeah.
then it's kind of holding you accountable.
Right. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
and it's funny because that's it's the thing that I don't get from that my you know, my mom's cool. I love my mom, but you know, my mom's like old school, like immigrant. So even the idea of like my mom I've been doing stand up comedy 12 years, and my mom has never seen me tell a joke. And
She's just not interested.
yeah, nah, like she'll like I'll tell her sometimes, like I'll be like I'll come home late and she's like, "Where were you?" I was like, "Oh, I had a show." She was like, "What kind of show?" I was like, "Stand up comedy." She's like, "Oh, you still doing that? That's cool. All
That's
right."
so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why you're working so hard though, because she's like, not giving you any support.
No, no. And I'm just
You
like,
gotta prove
really?
it.
I think one of the things that kind of worries me is like, all right, I'm gonna make it. If I make it in stand up, like who knows? Maybe I don't. Maybe I do, maybe I will. But if I were to make it, if I get like a Netflix special, I'm doing late night, whatever it is, that's when she's gonna be like, oh, cool, and I'm gonna get that validation from her. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I quit now. I don't.
Yeah, this is just for my mom to like recognize I've been working on this for
Right.
over a decade.
Yeah. I've shown her clips, and like she's like, like, what do you like? She's, I don't understand this. And I'm just like, what's not to, I say a thing, people laugh. I don't understand. And she's like, yeah, but like, what are you talking about? I was like, stuff? I don't know. Like, what?
Yeah, she might not be your target audience.
No, I don't think she is. No. Not like,
Yeah.
I don't do well with the 70 to 75 Haitian women crowd.
But maybe someday you will. You'll crack like one or two jokes that get
That's what I'm
her.
hoping. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping eventually I say something and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. Okay.
That's so funny. Yeah, I think for me it does boil down to like childhood. Why I do stand up now? It's like I'm just trying to please my parents and my family, and I just want people to like me. Do they like me yet? Like I have to keep working on it. It all
Do you
comes
have
from that, like
do you
day
have
one.
siblings?
I have three siblings. Yeah,
Are you the youngest?
I'm the oldest.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because people ask me about, because I'm an only child. I have younger cousins that are like brothers and sisters to me. And we're kind of close. But so
Mm.
like in that sense, I'm the oldest of four, if you want to call it that. But even that, like the gap between me and the oldest of them is like 11 years. So for all intents and purposes, I'm an only child. Um, I like I still operate that way. So I've always been like
Yeah.
the attention. Like that's the other thing too. I've realized, and that's my mom. That's macaroni. She's offering macaroni.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, you can answer her.
All right. Cool. It's never about me. It's about her. She's whatever you like. She could hear me
She's
talking, and
just
she's
trying to
like,
feed you.
"Hey, here's what's interesting. I
She's doing
already
the
ate."
mom thing.
Yeah, I already ate. I'm 37. I figured it out.
Well,
um,
she's worried about you. I
yeah,
get it.
yeah. I no, yeah. She's great. But yeah, like I've always felt like I do stand up because I like attention. Like there's pictures of me from when I was a kid. I was always like trying to crack jokes, getting people to laugh, and like um that was the other thing through therapy I kind of discovered is like I like attention but on my terms, you know, which is why
Yes.
stand
Yeah.
up is the perfect
That's
thing.
what that's what I like too. Yeah. Because you control it.
Yeah,
You write it out. You practice it, and that's what's gonna happen. And like you'll react in the moment. Maybe you'll do some crowd work. Things will be improvised, but overall, like you're in control on stage.
yeah. Like even stuff like you said, like crowd work. Yeah, like a lot of people will watch a stand up, and they'll do crowd work, and you know most of the time I would say it's like you know off the top of their head, it's improvised, but I mean, like, so we've thought this through many times. If this person says this, I can say this, and blah 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 blah. Like the control is like really.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I've
If it
never
if it's
thought
good,
about it.
it's
Yeah,
all polished.
right. I've never
Yeah.
thought about it in that sense though. The idea of control. I've always thought about it as like,
Mhm.
yeah, I like attention on my terms, but I've never thought about it as far as control. I should bring that up to my therapist.
I think that's what it is for me because um I am like the oldest of 4 kids, but I think I felt like an only child, especially as I was like a teen. I just kind of did my own thing all the time. So maybe that's where I lost all the attention. And now as an adult, even if I'm with friends or I'm at a party, I lose energy so fast, like in a group of people. I'm just like, oh, I wish I could just like tell you some jokes and then like we watch a movie and I don't have to entertain you anymore. Like I don't
Yeah,
I don't want to do this conversation thing for too long.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
I prefer like knowing like, oh, I'm doing 5 minutes tonight and then I'm out of there. I'll like meet a few people. And,
yeah,
you know going in, this is what it's gonna be. This is when you get to go home. I like that.
yeah. It's true. It's like, especially like, if you're, opening the show, you're closing, you're in the middle, like it's like, all right, cool. I know I'm just gonna. You only need me to be this person or this version of me from 8:15 to 8:27, and I'm like, all right, cool. I'm done. I'm gonna go. And then like even after, like sometimes what I like to do is, um after, depending on where the show is, I'll go to the bar. I won't even order a drink. I'll get like a
Mm-hmm.
water and I'll sit there and I'll hang out whatever with other comics. But I like to wait until the audience is walking out because I want their validation, but also on my terms. Like I want, like they'll walk by, like, oh my god, you were great, and I'm like, oh thanks. Like I wasn't waiting here for an hour and a half, but whatever. You guys are, thanks for you know but even that is like,
Yeah,
that's on my terms.
it's
It's
an
like,
extra
exactly.
it's an extra dopamine coming at
Hmm.
you.
Absolutely.
It's a little surge. It does feel good when a total stranger says like, "You're so funny," and
Yeah.
they make eye contact with you, and you're like, "This random person thinks I'm funny." That's a pretty
Yeah.
good mark.
Like it means a lot. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if audience members realize how much that means because, um,
Mhm.
you know, y- I don't know. Maybe I don't get it too much. Maybe some people get it enough and they're fine with it. But like, it's just, it does feel good that at the end of a show, someone will come up to me and be like, "Oh, you were so good," and you know, I try not to take that for granted.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Like it is a really nice compliment to receive.
Yeah, I mean,
I
it's
hope to,
validation for work.
yeah, I hope to throw more gratitude back at people because you got to throw it back out there.
Hmm.
But I think yeah, we're stand-up comics because we're loners. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'd be doing some other weird career like private investigating or astronaut.
I think, yeah, I always say, like, whenever I watch Law and Order, I was like, I could be doing that. I could be a detective, I think.
Yeah, it's not too late. You can always have a second or third career.
That's true. It's true. Like, if I just want to skip all the steps, I don't want to be a cop, like, in uniform.
Mm.
I just want to take the test and like just make me detective. I don't let me think. Because like I love The Wire. Like, I was just like, oh,
Mm.
that I can solve a crime if you give me enough time.
You could definitely do that without taking a test. Like you could just make a new TikTok account, call yourself a
Oh yeah.
PI, and boom.
That's the thing too. Like the internet sleuths that solve crimes.
Hmm.
I think I could do that. I think I could. I could. I think.
Are they all
Yeah.
just like Gen Z hustling and using their Google skills?
Yeah.
You could definitely do it. If you can work a computer, you can figure it
That's the
out.
thing. Yeah. And the funny thing with TikTok though is like some like I watch it. It's fine, but like I see what people do on TikTok. I'm like, I can't do any of that. Like I've officially gotten to that point in life where I am too old for this thing, and I'm like asking my younger cousins, like, "Yo, how do I do this?" I never thought
Oh
I'd
yeah,
get
I've been defaulting to my younger sister for a while now with
right.
Snapchat, with Instagram, now TikTok.
Yeah, yeah. Like I TikTok. I mean, the very basic stuff I can do. That's it. Like even my girlfriend, who's only a year younger than me, will do things. I'm like, how'd you do that? And I'm like I can't. I just as soon as I get a little bit frustrated, I'm like, I'm done. I can't do this. I'm okay with just
Yeah,
watching.
it's very frustrating. And I think that's okay. Because it's also like the time you're investing. Like, do you have time to learn a social media platform? Do
Yeah,
you want to?
and you
Yeah.
know, in like 3 years, it's gonna be something new. It took me
Not
so
even
long.
3 years.
Yeah, exactly.
With
It's
every app, what's it called? The updates. With every
yeah.
update, it's different.
It took me so long to learn Vine, and then by the time I figured out Vine, something else came. Like I was like, damn it, this I. That's why I'm not even bothering. I'm not gonna bother with TikTok because in like a year it's gonna be something else, and I'll have to learn that. And I don't want to do that.
Or you could just repurpose all your content. Whatever you had on Vine,
That's
put it on
true.
TikTok.
Right. So now, yeah, I think all my
Ask
TikToks, I'm
ask
just
your
gonna
girlfriend to help you.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. All my TikToks, I'm just gonna port them over to the next thing.
That's kind of the goal to modern day success. It's like, how good are you at repurposing?
Yeah,
Can you cut this so it's like a little different?
yeah. Like even
Yeah.
like
It's
YouTube,
terrible, but it's true.
I'm like not. It's not. It's. I don't think there's anything that I need to be good at, but like I always forget that it's a resource.
Yeah. Like posting, you mean? Or watching it?
Well, just watching really, just like like sometimes I'll think I'll Google something and I'm like I could have just found I could have just went on YouTube and like how to do this.
Yeah, it's good and it's bad because I don't really learn from videos.
Oh
So
really?
I'll watch it, but I don't really like absorb it. I'm
Oh,
much better at reading information.
I see. I have to watch something over and over again. Like when I moved out of my mom's house in 2020, um, like I wanted to. I missed her cooking, so I was like, I'm gonna learn how to make like Haitian food, or at least my favorite Haitian food. So
Mhm.
um I went on YouTube and I found this YouTube channel that's like all Haitian recipes. But like even then, like I had to do it over and I had to watch it over and over again. While I'm doing it, I have it up. I'm like pausing and rewinding and things like that. So um if
Yeah.
to your point, like if it was written out, it'd be much easier. I could just, do that.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't find the video method good for like education, information. It's okay for like a first dip into something, but then
Mhm.
yeah, it's a lot of rewinding.
Mhm.
Or maybe we're both slow learners. I don't know.
Maybe that's what it is. It's possible. It's possible that because yeah, with like anything, I'm just like because the other thing with YouTube is like there's different versions of the same educational video. So like I had to like learn how to set up when I started streaming. I had to like learn how to set it up and like there's like this is how you do it this way and this is how you do it this way and I was like this is a lot.
Yeah. Gotta like break it into bite-sized pieces
Exactly.
so you don't get overwhelmed. Yeah.
Well, I
So
think that's
Stan,
what.
we're coming.
Oh yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's also I think what makes TikTok so good because it's small videos.
Yeah, I hate it though. It's digestible, but like it's not good for my attention span.
Yeah.
And then people like my boyfriend watches it before he goes to sleep, and I'm like, this is so bad for your REM for sure. Like, there's no way
Yeah.
that's good in your brain.
No, yeah. You lose an hour and a half real fast.
Oh yeah, I think it's just straight poison after a certain
Yeah.
time of day. So we're coming to the end. Do you have any topic you would like to rant about, or I give you consent to vent about if you have a topic in mind?
Uh no, not really. Like
No.
the only thing is like it'll turn into a bit because I do the only thing I end up ranting about is how much I hate the bus. And that's a bit that
Mm.
I've kind of been working on. So like I'd
I mean,
hate
if you're
to
taking it to Staten Island, that's crazy.
yeah, like I just
That's got to be a deep bus ride.
there's nothing good about the bus. I don't like it. Like it's the worst. Nothing good happens on the bus.
No, I mean, I actually only started taking it recently after I've moved out of New York and I go back to visit. My boyfriend's like, let's take the bus. And I'm like, are you sure? So we try we try to take it when we're in town, but like it either doesn't show up and then it's like winter and you're freezing, or recently we were on the bus, only passengers on the bus. It was like 9 p.m. or something, and they hit a taxi,
Oh wow.
and the taxi just drives off. And the bus driver like gets out and looks at his bumper and he's like, he shrugs. He's like, okay,
Yeah.
just gets back into driving the bus.
The only buses I don't mind taking are the crosstown buses in Manhattan.
Mm.
It's like, but that's a short ride. You can get from one side of the Manhattan to the other in like 10, 15 minutes. So it's like,
Those are
what?
efficient. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
They're like operating for those 9 to 5 people. They know they have to keep on schedule.
Yeah,
But the ones in Brooklyn, good luck.
yeah. Not a fan.
Yeah. I'm with you there. But sometimes you have to take the bus.
Yeah, I mean, it's like from like you my mom's house is like so far out, so like it's at least a 30-minute bus ride from Jamaica. And I don't, if I sometimes I'll take the Long Island Railroad if I want to save time, but like I now that the fares are back to peak, so I'm like I don't want to spend 550 to get.
Oh. It took them forever to get back to peak.
Yeah, it just this month. So they're gonna try to get as much of that money back that they lost.
Yeah. That's wild. Long Island Railroad, they're like in line with the student loan repayments. That sucks. I have a roulette wheel. Are you ready to spin it?
I'm ready.
Okay. I just wrote numbers on it because I wrote new questions for season 2, so they're a little long. You got Dos. Stan, what do you like best about your life? And what do you like least about your life?
What do I like best? I like uh I like my girlfriend. I love my girlfriend. Because she's so supportive. Like she'll sometimes, because I'm just not used to it. She'll say things to me. I'm just like, do you mean that? What? Do you know who I like? What? Like, I love stand up. I think I could never choose. I love stand up and I love my girlfriend. So those are the two. If I had to say if I have to pick one, I mean, I
I'm
don't.
not making you pick one.
All right, good.
You can pick
I love
both.
my girlfriend and stand up. That's what I love
Okay.
most about my life. What
I like how you have to fact check your girlfriend. You're like, why are you supporting me?
Yeah.
What's your angle?
She'll say things like, "There's nothing you can't do." I was like, "There's plenty of things I can't do."
Just take that support. That's so nice.
No, yeah, I'm learning. I'm learning to do it. What do I like least about my life? My credit score.
Mm.
It's
Is
I
it like
my
is it like abysmal?
it depends on who you ask apparently, because one app says
Or is
it's
it getting
fair.
better?
Yeah. I just did the Experian boost. And it jumped my credit score
That
by
sounds like a
50 points.
fake thing. It
Yeah.
did?
Yeah, it was like, "Oh, do you pay monthly for Hulu and Disney Plus and all this other stuff? Here's this credit for that." And I was like,
Hmm.
this is all
Oh, okay.
arbitrary. That's what it means. None of this matters."
Oh, it's 100%. Yeah, it's American made. I
Yeah.
forget what year it was started, but it's not been around that long, the credit score.
No, it's just a way to keep poor people poorer.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah, it's
done.
just like a member of the elite, the like upper echelon of people keeping it tight, not letting a lot of people in.
Yeah. Cause it's like, all right, I'm at 37, I'm being judged for something I did at 18. I took out a credit card. I mean, I took out student loans, and here I am. Like, my bad. Sorry, I was trying to get an education and sneakers.
Mm-hmm. You can't have both.
No,
Got
I
pick.
should have. I should have picked neither. Really.
Yeah. You should have gotten sensible shoes and taken one class at a community college.
That no, that's that's exactly what I think about that all the time. I was like, I could have settled for a pair of Skechers, and I could have gone to like I could have gone to Hunter College instead.
But that's also what they want you to do. Don't give in.
Right? Yeah.
You can boost that credit score. It just takes time.
Yeah. There's little. So one of the things I got to do soon is there's an app called Self actually. That's pretty. I know I should. This is a shameless plug, but what they do is
Free promo.
they yeah there's this thing you sign up for, and like you pay, it's auto pay $25 a month, and it acts like a credit card bill, and it brings up your credit score, and then for like it takes out like a small fee, but like at the end of, I think it's like 26 months or 24 months, it just gives you all that money. So basically it's like I'm giving myself $25 a month to also raise my credit. And then now that I've been doing it long enough, there's enough money. I think I have like $400 in that account. I can open up a secured credit card with that money, and then I can use that as like another way to build my credit. So I think I might do that. I've been meaning to buy a new laptop for just for streaming, like just a cheap $150 laptop, and then you know at the same, it's all a plan. It's all a plan that I'm working on.
Okay, you got it. You got it set. You just gotta act on it.
Yeah, the quest for a 600 credit
Have,
score is what I call it.
you can achieve it. Have you told your therapist about this?
No, actually, no. This is that's
Well, you
why
gotta tell her.
this podcast is good, because I'm getting the same confidence boost that I would get with my therapist.
Thank you. I'm a pseudo therapist.
Yeah,
I'm good at listening for whatever reason. So this is me using my skills.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, this has been so lovely. Please tell us where to find you online and anything you'd like to promote.
Yeah, you can find me at Funny Man Stan everywhere on Instagram and Twitter. I host in all over. If you're in New York, if you're in Brooklyn specifically, but just in New York, it's fine too. Every other Thursday, I'm at Father Knows Best, 611 Wilson Avenue, in Brooklyn, and every other Thursday that I'm not there, I'm at the Tiny Cupboard and also in Bushwick. And then just follow me and see where I'm at.
Thanks. Thanks so much for talking with me tonight.
Oh, thanks for having me. This was great.
Yeah, this is so much fun.